Play devil's advocate with me for 1 second. Let's say you're looking to invest some of your money and you want to start saving up or getting ready for your retirement. Maybe you're like me and that's 30, 40 years away. Maybe you're closer to it than I am. Maybe it's only 10 or 20 years away. Whatever the case may be, let's say you had several $1,000s, maybe even tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars that you're looking to invest so that when you do retire, you don't have to worry so much about money or where it's going to come from, whether Social Security is going to stay in play, whatever. So let's say I came to you and I told you, hey, really quickly, before you invest any money in the stock market or in real estate, I have a great venture where you're going to get 100 times back your return in what you put into it. And so in just a couple of years' time, at most, it could be as soon as 3 to 6 months, you're going to be able to have all the wealth you're ever going to need. You can retire in as little as 3 to 6 months, 2 years max. Would you take me up on that? Probably. Look at me as an insider, like we're insider trading, like I know something that the market and that the public doesn't know. And that, my friends, is your health. I'll get into how that is the best and only surefire investment you can make in just a second. This is Pete Weintraub. I'm a permanent weight loss specialist, and you're listening to the Weight Loss by Pete podcast. I am streaming this live here on my YouTube channel, and you can listen to this at a later time on my podcast, the Weight Loss by Pete podcast, on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. So getting back, this investment opportunity, your health. Wow, that sounds kind of lame, and maybe it is, but it really is the only surefire investment you're ever going to make. Think about it for a second. The stock market is so volatile. There's been the Great Depression in the United States. There was the Great Recession not too long ago, within the last 10 years. People are worried that we're currently in a bubble and that's going to burst at any moment. The stock market is extremely volatile. And yes, there are people who really master their craft, and there are good investors who they make consistently a good return year after year. And those are the savants. Those are people that are very hard to find and are extremely expensive to invest with. So unless you're blessed with a lot of money, you're not going to be able to invest with them, unfortunately. So that means you're going to have to try and predict how the market is going to react. While the market's done pretty well as of late, though it's fluctuated the last few weeks, it's an extremely volatile marketplace. The same can be said for real estate. There was the real estate bubble that caused the latest Great Recession. That's always a big risk. Obviously, people always are looking for places to rent out of or live. It's much better to buy properties that you're going to rent out, especially multifamily units. Obviously, I'm not a financial guy, but I know that much. But again, it's a marketplace and it's just as volatile. There are periods where when the economy is going well and more people are employed and more people are making steadier incomes, they're more willing to rent or pay for a home versus in times where there's issue, it's not as likely. More people are more apt to maybe move in with friends and family until the hardships of the economy pass over. So obviously, no matter what you go on, people also go on gold and hard commodities and things like that. There are so many directions you can go in with your investments. And some people say you need to diversify your portfolio. So if one thing fails, and say the stock market fails, maybe real estate's going well, or vice versa. Maybe have it in gold and silver and other bullion, because perhaps that's supposed to go up all the time, which isn't always the case. Whatever. But one thing that you can bank on, put money in the bank today, is your health. How? Let me explain. According to a study from the CDC in 2006, there was 149 billion with a B billion-dollar cost for the year in 2006 for obesity-related medical expenses. Obesity, as we've gone on this podcast, on this daily video in the past, is a gateway condition, which leads to things like type 2 diabetes, another gateway condition. And this opens up the doors for other health issues that can kill you even though obviously type 2 diabetes can certainly kill you. Those include heart disease, one of the top 3 leading causes of death in the United States. I believe it was #1 last year, according to the CDC in 2017. Various forms of cancer, I believe that's in the top 3. I think it's 2 or 3. You got neurological conditions like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia, also in the top 10. And the list goes on. And 7 of the top 10 are chronic conditions, and they're given to yourself. Now, we went over this yesterday, the day before, and so on. It's very common for people to believe, and there is some truth to it, that we're genetically susceptible to different types of chronic conditions. Heart disease may run in your family. I know it runs in mine. Maybe a certain type of cancer runs in your family. Maybe Alzheimer's runs in your family. Whatever the case may be, we may have genetic markers that make us more susceptible to acquiring these chronic conditions. There's also a study of something called epigenetics. Basically, what epigenetics entails is that you have the ability, through making just some simple, healthy lifestyle changes, to either turn off or keep a gene dormant. So if you do have a gene for heart disease, you have to turn that on. And often that's due to poor lifestyle habits. So if you're able to keep it off by leading a healthy lifestyle, all the better. Sometimes even through epigenetics, you can completely reverse a gene or several genes in your genetic code. So maybe you go from being someone who's at risk of heart disease to someone who's never going to be at risk for heart disease. The change can be that drastic, and the same holds true for so many chronic conditions. So that being said, if you're able to invest time and money into your health, then you're going to be in a much better position to succeed. And by succeeding, I mean living a longer, healthier, and happier life. And getting back to that number, 149 billion with the B dollars annually. And that was as of 2006. Now, looking at the obesity rates, they've stayed about the same over the last 12 years, which I don't know, that's not necessarily a good thing, but I guess it's good that for the most part, it's not really creeping up and up and up and up. It's stayed in about the same range over the last 12 years. There have been dips and increases, and it's stayed around the same number. That being said, let's look into what that costs every individual who is overweight or obese annually. As of 2006, it was roughly $1,500 a year that folks were spending on medical bills associated with their being overweight or obese. So imagine saving every year $1,500 a year for the rest of your life. Because essentially, when you are overweight, like I said, it opens up the floodgates for a myriad of chronic, potentially fatal health conditions. And obviously, a lot of these things will eventually kill you. You might be able to manage it for many years, but eventually, if you got heart disease, guess what's probably going to kill you unless you get hit by a bus? Heart disease. So you want to try and avoid that. Hopefully, if you're watching this, you don't have a chronic condition. And if you do, maybe it's just type 2 diabetes, which fortunately is reversible. There are some forms of cancer where there are treatments for them that are successful outside of just chemo, and also ways you can treat yourself and kind of recalibrate your body to ward off the cancer. There are ways to do that, but the only surefire investment is in yourself, and it can easily be done. The other day, we went over the permanent weight loss pyramid. Let me pull it up here for you, because this is important for you guys to internalize, all right? So if you're listening to this, I'm going to explain the permanent weight loss pyramid again. Essentially, what we're seeing here on the screen is a pyramid, and it starts at the base. The base, or the bottom section, is the most important level. Each level on top of that is less important than the level below it, but is more important than the level on top of it. So we start off with mindset. So you need to have your mind right. You need to be in this for the long haul. This is a lifestyle change, guys. This isn't a quick fix, bullshit fad diet. We talked about this earlier in the week, why vanity isn't a long-term result. It's because if you're just looking to be good on the beach or to get laid or whatever the case may be, and then you're just going to gain all the weight back after mission's accomplished, just to repeat the next year or the next time that the situation presents itself. It's not an ideal situation. You need to have your mind right, do this for the right reasons. Mainly, you want to function normally at an optimal level for the rest of your life. You don't want to have an aid. You don't want to be in an assisted living facility shitting your pants and being completely reliant on the staff. Next, we got nutrition. You want to eat a healthy diet. Meats, non-starchy vegetables, raw nuts and seeds, low glycemic fruit, half a cup or less of non-grain-based starch, no added sugar. If you're able to do that, you're going to right the ship in your gut, which is going to, and your gut, I don't mean like your flubby gut, I mean your intestinal tract, and that's going to have miraculous effects on your health. Next up, sleep. You need to sleep and get consistent quality sleep. I know if you're a parent, I know if you're caring for someone, I know if you have a very demanding job that has weird hours or you might be on call, this may not always be a possibility, but make sleep a priority. Get either 7.5 or 9 hours, so these 2 90-minute intervals of sleep each night. Be in bed half an hour before. Make sure your room is dark, cool, and quiet. Have all electronic devices at the very least on the opposite end of the room. If not in an opposite room altogether, get an old school alarm clock, and you're good from there. Lastly, fitness. Rather than trying to find the perfect fitness module, do something that works for you. If you find modes of fitness that work well, you'll be in very good shape. So that's essentially all you have to do, guys. And if you're able to do that, that's great. Now, a lot of people, when they need help on their health and on their weight loss journey, when they want to buy real whole organic foods, if they want to hire a personal trainer or a nutritionist or me or whatever, or they're just looking to join a gym, they will use money as an excuse. And look, I get it. Not everyone is well off. Not everyone has a lot of disposable income, but this isn't disposable income. Again, this is an investment that you're making in yourself, in your health. If you're not willing to make a nominal investment, and think about it this way too, from a dollars and cents perspective. Let's say you spend an extra $1,500 this year, hypothetically. Maybe it's less. It could just be less. It might be an extra $20, $30 a week in groceries. It could be an extra $10 a month for a gym. Those are very cheap, affordable options. You mean to tell me that if we went through your financial statements right now, your credit cards, your checking account, all that stuff, that we wouldn't find frivolous purchases on clothing, on shoes, on bullshit that you didn't need to get, where you could have allocated those funds towards these healthier options, which would have made you healthier and put you in a better chance to succeed? I find that extremely hard to believe, extremely hard to believe. And guess what? Once you do lose the weight, once you do get your health in order, you'll be able to get that $1,500 that overweight and obese people are losing annually. You get that back. Imagine getting paid for just taking care of yourself. $1,500 a year. So it's a little under $150 a month. Imagine getting a little over $100 a month to help yourself, just to take care of yourself. And compound interest, if you know anything about investing, imagine that compound interest, $1,500 a year over time. How much money are you saving over the next 30, 40 years that you can then invest into the stock market or real estate or your IRA or whatever the hell it is that you invest in? Imagine that. And that's what I want you to think about heading into the weekend. I hope you found this informative. So really quick, I want you, if you're looking to make that next change and you want to lose weight for good, I'm going to ask you to download my free report. Link is in the description below, weightlossbypete.com/5. That's the number 5 strategies. It's a free report that details the 5 strategies that I personally used to lose 100 pounds and keep them off. And there's the same 5 strategies that I teach my permanent weight loss clients. They're the basis to losing weight and getting healthy once and for all. So download the free report and start implementing those things. And at the end of the report, you'll have the opportunity to set up a free strategy call with me where we can go over a health questionnaire you'll be asked to fill out ahead of time. After you've selected a date and time that works for you, you'll have direct access to my calendar to set up that strategy call. And then I can select the best program that'll work for you. We can decide if we want to work together. I have low-cost virtual options. So if you don't live where I live on Long Island in New York, not to worry. I've worked with people all over the world as far away from here as Japan. That's pretty damn far. So don't worry about where you live. I have a solution for you, and we'll figure out how to help you and meet your personal needs. I hope you found this helpful. Again, this is Pete Weintraub, Permanent Weight Loss Specialist. I'm signing off for the week. I'll be back at you on Monday with another episode of the Weight Loss by Pete podcast. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you on Monday.